if you think back to the action learning journey now and you bring to mind those 2 weeks, what is the one thing you would say is your biggest takeaway from all of that experience in terms of what's the strongest learning that you value the most?
Focus. Focus, in terms of, you see, most of the thing we did during the action learning journey was trying to focus on something, reflecting, thinking about
Mm.
something, spending time on it, on how, and for any time we spend, we give it some time, we go into rooms, we during all that time we are trying to focus on one specific thing, to talk about one specific thing, whether in teams, whether individually, even from
Yeah.
the very beginning. Yeah. In those moments, that was when the decision had been taken. And during those small focus time, that's when um an idea comes out. That's when a decision had been taken. So that's one thing I really took from it, from the action learning chain.
So what was that like? If you can portray that to us a little bit, those moments of taking decisions, what did it feel like? Why did it feel so, um, what was the energy like?
It's a great energy. It's fine. It's when you put your mind onto something and then you achieve something, which you can remember anytime we come up with something that um is great, some great idea, we become happy. It's it's an energy that makes you, it revives you, it makes you feel like, yeah, I've been able to find it out, I've been able to do this. Just from the very beginning, it was flooding. We're just talking about flooding. And so whilst we focus reflecting on flooding, on how to work on something, anytime we try to speak deep into it, that's when we find something out. And anytime we come out with something, we become happy. If you can remember when we find out, the day we find out from the journey on how everything, how the system should map out each other, if you remember, see how happy we were. The energy was so excited, and when you go deeper, you find something else again. So the journey is great. It's always interesting. It's always happy. It's it makes you feel you feel something in you, like you are working towards something. It makes you very happy to be there.
Yeah, because I remember for you, you brought in this theme of flooding from day one. That
Yeah.
was what you had identified.
Yes.
And then within the first, I think it was on the first night, even on the Sunday of the opening
Yeah.
party,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
started flooding. It started raining
Flooding.
heavily,
Yes.
and we went
Yes.
outside, and there was intense flooding right in front of
Yes.
us. And
Yes.
we were
Yes.
like, you were like, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
So it made it very literal from day one. And then you realized that to address that, you would start working on waste management.
Management. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And so yeah, today, as you know, we're going to talk a little bit about the more technical perspective of that project.
Okay.
And we were talking just earlier about how since the action learning journey finished, um, you've actually visited 2 recycling companies and you learned a great deal
No,
about.
not two though. Okay, two different. One recycling company, one company that transform the waste materials into the recycling materials.
which you
Turns the turns the
which you
waste into
didn't
recycling materials.
and you didn't realize that that was a difference before, right? We were talking
Yeah,
about them
yeah.
as recycling companies in general,
One, yeah, yeah.
and now you realize there's different types. So talk me through what that means for the process of what you're addressing with bin to cash.
In terms of
In terms of the different stakeholders and the stages that you move through of, you have the households, the waste creators, and then the waste collectors, and now there's kind of like an extra step in between that you learned of by, yeah.
yeah, there are two categories here. One, we can merge the waste creators with the first recycle company, those who transform the materials into the waste into recycled materials. And second, we can make them separate. So first, I was looking at, when I first saw it, the map changed. I was looking at them into 4 different people instead of 3. And also, one thing I realized was that the map, it becomes from the waste sorters, the households, they are the key people, they are the main people we are targeting, because they are those who litter everywhere. So if you don't, the idea of bin to cash is to change their mindsets, to get them to sort their waste and dispose it properly instead of just dumping it anywhere. So that's the main idea of bin to cash. And currently Ghana is most of the cities in Ghana is dirty because of, not because of the government alone, but because of the individual's mindset. So if you change it, if you change their mindset, it's going to really help them. And if it's going to give them some money, or if they can get some incentive in it, it's really going to help a lot. So when it comes to the mapping, we bring in sorters and then collectors, which are people who get the materials from the sorters and the recycling company here. But recycling company doesn't deal with waste, so they need refined materials, waste that has been turned into recycling materials. So in here, we have to get a transfer station here. So I was thinking if we could get a transfer station, some place where the waste will be coming to, maybe if it, that depends on how the project goes, but if bin to cash could be a middleman here to make sure everything goes in place. So bin to cash becomes a verification process here, where the smart contracts are being determined. Bin to cash to be in the middle to avoid scams, or to avoid people duplicating or hacking the system. Bin to cash to be in the middle of verifying whether the waste that they claim they got were real. And then from there, before it goes to the recycling company straight. So bin to cash could be in the middle, or we could also make the same people here be in the middle. That depends on that would determine in later in the future. One thing, so with these people, that middle people who transform the materials into waste, they don't deal with the recycling companies. It's the same waste collector, the middlemen, those who the waste buyers, they are the same people who deal with the recycling companies, because anytime they change the materials, they now send it. They pay those companies for turning the waste materials into the recycling materials, and they sell it to the recycling companies.
Right. I follow. And you have there's one particular product in mind, right? Of the water sachet. And you were
Yes.
giving this could you run us through that example of one way that a certain role in the system would hack the system with
Yeah.
for the weight?
Good. Since we are dealing with weight, people can easily um cheat the system, which is already in place. So they fill in the water sachet or the waste with water. So it's like a small amount of water, but when it powers up, it becomes something huge, something heavy. So you can, when we were thinking of weighing it from home first, but with that thing in place, it can easily affect the system because we won't really get the amount of kilogram we can get from the homes, no matter how we do it, because people will try to cheat the system. There are people who will do it well, but I know a lot of people do that. They keep example intentionally put in water from the waste they've already picked, and then before they going to sell it. So that is for the water sachet. But others are the bottles and everything. I think those one can be would be less would be less cheat will have the English is I don't know the right word to use here, but those ones won't be as won't be like the sachet water rubbers. So I think the verification system becomes very important. So we need to take security important. We need to look at it very well and see how we can go about that. Because using smart contracts, it's something we can't change. If we have to use smart contracts here, we need to really understand and go deeper on how we can solve that issue before we implement smart contracts.
Okay, awesome. And what's some of the next steps? Are you planning to go and talk to more recycling companies?
Yeah.
And I remember from when I was in Accra, we were talking about setting up kind of a fund, and that fund would be used to distribute the tokens to different roles in the system, different people. And there was one hypothesis of the recycling companies financing the fund because they want to receive more sorted trash, right?
Yeah.
Have you been able to validate that hypothesis, or is that still coming up?
Um, it's yet to be validated. It's not yet validated yet. Yeah. It's not yet validated yet. So
And do you have some companies in mind who you're going to talk to validate that?
yeah. And it's not just the recycling companies, but also uh NGOs, government officials. We intend to speak to a number of them to see how they are going to support. I think the current president of Ghana is also trying to work on something like that when he talked about reducing using changing the sachet rubbers we use here, the rubber the normally have a black rubbers we used to buy our product. Was trying to change all that perception. So I think the government is already having some interest in that field. So when we get there, when we speak to them, we hope we can get some support from them. That's going to really help up in all this.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, Abdul Rahman, thank you so much for talking to us today. I can really see the technical details that you're working through and that emphasis on the security of verification. That sounds super relevant and interesting. I wish you all the luck as you progress. I know you've just submitted a proposal for funding, so I hope you're successful in that. And congratulations to you and the team on your progress so far. And yeah, I look forward to following your journey.
Thank you. Thank you as well for all the support and everything. Thank you.